Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and in today's video we have my gameweek 32 team selection. Now I know it's been a while since I've uploaded a video. It's good to be back. I hope you guys have been doing good as well. I do apologize for the lack of content, but it's simply because I've had to prioritize a couple of things in my personal life over making FPL content. And unfortunately, it is just the way it is. So I've carved out some time. I've managed to record today's video, and it will be a gameweek 32 team selection video, but I'll also try as much as possible to address some of the questions that you guys have put to me either on Instagram, where I've been pretty active as a result of not uploading videos consistently, and also the Telegram group chat just above me there, where we have about 500 plus FPL managers already in there. I'm chatting with you guys pretty often when I'm not able to upload a video. That's pretty much how I connect with you guys. So I've collated different questions from all these sources, and I'll address them in today's video as we go along. So hopefully you guys find this video useful and you enjoy it. If you do, please do drop a like, please do subscribe as well. And let's get on with the video. So for Game Week 32, this is how my team looks like without any transfers made. I haven't shown my Game Week 31 scores because I think there's lots to discuss about Game Week 32. I do want to focus on that, but I scored 64 points in Game Week 31. That puts me at a rank of 52k right now, which is, I think, a rank I'm pretty happy with, considering that I do have two more trips to play, which is the free hit, likely in Game Week 34, and also the Benchboost, which is a big chip that we're going to talk about in today's video, mainly because I haven't truly decided whether I want to Benchboost in 32 or 33. Now, I say that I haven't decided, but it's only now that I'm kind of second guessing. Really, when I made my wildcard in Game Week 30, it was with the intention to bench boost in 32, and you will realize that because you look at my bench, it's Raya, Saka, Konsa, and Gabriel. You ignore the flags there. That's not players you would usually put on a bench, but they're only there right now because, unfortunately, because of the flags to them, Saka and Gabriel, who's obviously out of the season, I do have to think about whether I truly want to bench boost in Game Week 32. Despite having planned for it in the wild card, I may have to adjust my plans. So speaking specifically about the 11 players in my team first, I have Verbruggen ahead of Raya. Now, going off the basis that I don't bench boost, I think I prefer to start Verbruggen ahead of Raya here because he has Leicester at home. But by no means am I saying that Raya is not going to get a clean sheet at Brentford. I think it's possible. I mean, at the Emirates, I'm sorry. But I do think also that this is just a way that I could go different and just kind of have Verbruggen in my team instead of Raya, who I imagine everyone would have. And I think at this point, which is kind of the last few games of the season, I'm really trying to look at different areas or different ways that I could go different from the mass template kind of picks. So starting Verbruggen here ahead of Raya if I don't bench boost, and then I have Livramento, Munoz, and Vardiol in defense. Now, Livramento and Munoz, both of them have double game week fixtures, so definitely going to start both of them. For Vardiol, the thing with him is he has Crystal Palace at home, of which I have Sa and Mateta, hoping that they get some returns against Man City away in their first double game week fixture. So that being said, if they do well, it pretty much means that Vardiol is not going to do well. So I do have something in the back of my mind, thinking I should play Konsa ahead of Vardiol here because Konsa has Southampton away. But that said, given the European fixtures, the Champions League right now is huge for teams like Arsenal as well as Aston Villa, who's playing PSG later today. I am recording this before Aston Villa have played PSG. But basically, if I am confident that Konsa would start in Game Week 32, I do have a good mind to start him ahead of Vardiol there. And then there's Sa, Rashford, Salah, and Murphy in my midfield. Now, Ismaila Sa and Murphy both are very cheap and good options from their respective teams that double. The thing with Ismaila Sa is that I actually do have funds in the bank. Obviously, hindsight is a thing, but I do feel like if I had known that I would have this much funds, planned to kind of go for Foden in the future when City do double in 33, but now Foden no longer looks like an option, and I don't think I need to save the money for him. Maybe I should have gone for Eze instead, because I do think like Eze was a pick that I was seriously considering instead of Sa as my third Crystal Palace asset back when I wildcarded in 30. But now being the case that I have Sa already, I'm not going to do a sideways move like Sa to Eze. So Ismaila Sarr stays in the team, obviously. He has a double there. And then Murphy just did really well against Leicester, scored 2 goals there. So he plays Manchester United at home and Crystal Palace at home in Game Week 32. Now for Salah, he is definitely still in the team, but I think off late he has been quite disappointing. I did not expect him to do or drop off a cliff as much as he had over the past 2 game weeks. Since the international break, he's blanked in both games, hoping that West Ham now in 32 as well as Leicester in 33 weeks that he would come good. Now, for Rashford here, he has Southampton away, same as Konza on the bench, but the reason why I'm starting him ahead here, I'm taking a gamble pretty much. Now, obviously, this would have to come after I look at the minutes that Rashford gets in the Champions League against PSG, but I do have a good feeling about this. I mean, I do know that it's very hard to predict Emery right now, especially with all the rotations to the attackers, but I do hope that the expectation for Rashford is that he will start in 32. I'm hoping that he does not start in the Champions League and only gets about 30 minutes towards the end. Now, with that being said, Rashford is also 1 yellow card away in the Champions League this is from being suspended for the second leg of PSG versus Aston Villa. In which case, if he does pick up a yellow, if he does play against PSG and pick up a yellow later today, it basically means that he won't play the second leg, and therefore I would be more confident to say that he will start Southampton away, in which case he definitely will come into my starting 11. Now up front, Isak, Marmoush, Mateta. Isak and Mateta are obviously the talisman for both of their teams, and then Marmoush, Crystal Palace at home. I'm starting him ahead of all the other bench options I have. So going back to the initial discussion that we were having about bench boost, you can see that if the players were not on my bench were not injured, Saka playing Brentford at home, I would start him ahead of something like Rashford, for example. So you put Rashford down to the bench, Saka into the starting 11, and then Gabriel here, I would start Gabriel ahead of Vardiol as well. And when you look at a team like this, like a bench like this, Raya, Rashford, Konza, and Vardiol as a bench boost in Game Week 32, this was pretty much what I was setting up for, right? And I do feel as if now that different curveballs have been thrown, like Saka potentially coming off with a bit of a knock, I would say. That's what Arteta coined it as, though it does not seem very serious. And then after that, Gabriel also being out for the season, I do have to reconsider. And if I still want to bench boost in 32, it means a couple of things. I have to take Saka out and also Gabriel out, because those are the 2 players I think, even if Saka is fit, there is a chance they may still rest him against Brentford to save him for the Champions League, in which case his minutes aren't secure. Konza, does he start against Southampton? We don't know. Gabriel is injured and out for the season. All of them are issues. So I only have 2 free transfers left. Am I going to use these 2 free transfers to take maybe Gabriel and Saka out, which sounds crazy because Saka will have a double game week in 33, and then also try to address other issues and also hope that Konza would start and therefore I'm able to bench boost? Like, when I think about all this in totality, it just doesn't make sense for me to bench boost in 32 anymore, and I feel like I'm talking myself out of it as well. So currently, the plan is to go with this starting 11 here in Game Week 32 that you see on screen, and then bench boost in 33 instead, where come the time I'm in Game Week 33, I will have 3 free transfers to deal with, firstly, the issues, the injuries to my team, and also by then, Champions League would have been, at least the second leg of the Champions League would be over, in which case there will be a bit of a more focus on the Premier League for at least 33, at least double Game Week 33. That being said, the teams that double in Game Week 33, for example, Crystal Palace, they're also involved in the FA Cup in Game Week 34, in blank Game Week 34, right, and where Crystal Palace blank. So all things considered, I'm a little bit more confident of bench boosting in 33 overall. So that is the plan. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a tinkering to what my team could look like, or what the bench could look like in Game Week 33 as it stands, right? So that's pretty much with regards to my team. And before we jump into kind of the transfer tinkering tool to look at 33 now, I want to just address some of the main questions that I got from the Telegram group chat, from Instagram, with regards to gameweek32. And the most popular one is really about triple captain. I think some people still have the triple captainship, and you aren't on an assistant manager. Basically, you're not using any chips between this kind of game week 30 to game week 33 period just as of yet. Your 32 is free for you to choose a chip that you can use. In a case where you have triple captain, bench boost, as well as free hit, I think the likely way that I would play it is to triple captain in game week 32 on Alexander Isak, which is right now. And then after that, I would bench boost in 33, and thereafter, I would free hit in 34. That's likely the plan I would kind of go with. Now, other questions surrounding the chips would be, is it worth delaying the triple captain to later on, like game week 36, double game week 36 potentially? I would say I wouldn't take that big of a risk. I just don't think that, waiting that long in the season, and also, is there enough upside to, for example, a Marmouche in game week 36, hoping that they get a double there, versus now in 32, where there's 2 home fixtures for Isak. I think I still prefer this particular triple captain opportunity here. So my plan would still be, if I had triple captainship to play in 32. As for the bench boost, for those of you who are on the assistant manager chip, through game week 31 to 33, it's pretty straightforward that you can bench boost in 36 instead. Now, I think when it comes to those who have no chips active at the moment and are thinking about bench boosting in 32 versus 33, one of the main reasons why I chose to bench boost in 32 instead initially was that it would save transfers, basically. I don't have to kind of deal with, obviously, if Saka, Gabriel, and Konza weren't issues, I don't have to deal with them. That's one. They have decent enough fixtures. I don't have to spend transfers removing players like I would have to in 33, where I would likely have to sell my Newcastle assets in game week 33 for players like Aston Villa players, potentially Arsenal players, potentially Man City players as well, to get more doublers in 33, and thereafter then bench boost. It felt to me like initially in 33, I'm selling Newcastle players just to get doublers, and it felt like a bit of a waste of transfers just to get a good bench, and thereafter kind of suffer a little bit later down the line when these teams potentially could blank in 37 as well, right? So that's a conversation for another day, but I do feel like bench boost specifically, if your team looks pretty set up with bench boost 32, unlike my kind of a bench right now, and I think you could still stick to the plan. It still will save you transfers down the line. But if not, if you're in kind of a position like mine, I would say we kind of reorientate and adapt the strategy a little bit and go for a bench boost in 33 instead. So I'm keeping it flexible. Maybe you guys should as well, depending on your teams, of course. Let's now have a look at the tinkering tool. So this is my team on the fpl.team transfer planner, exactly as shown in the graphic just now. And just to kind of illustrate a little bit as to why I'm not super happy with bench boost 32 anymore, I would have to sell Gabriel firstly. It's not an issue. I could do Gabriel to someone like a Nico Williams, for example, and that would give me kind of a decent enough coverage for a good fixture in 32 now, but also decent fixtures from 35 onwards when I would probably need to use Nico Williams. So, it does make sense, this Gabriel to Nico Williams move, but then am I confident of a Konsa start? That's one. And then for Bukayo Saka, am I confident he starts? If he doesn't, and I'm not confident, do I actually sell him for someone else, someone in the midfield, but thereafter I want him back in 33 either ways? So I just feel like at this point, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for me to bench boost in 32 anymore, in which case I will undo the transfer. So basically I'm back to 2 free transfers now, 2.5 million in the bank. I'll go with this kind of a starting 11 here in 32 as shown just now, and come to game week 33, I'm gonna have 3 free transfers. If I'm gonna start all my doublers, let me just put them into the starting 11 right now. So naturally the Newcastle players would drop out, right? So simply because they don't have double game week fixtures, right? So Gabriel, obviously, he's out for the season, so I have to deal with him as well. But you see 3 of my Newcastle players on the bench, and then Verbruggen here as well. So it's really a case of, firstly, which one do I keep? Because Gabriel I have to sell. So I have 3 free transfers. I'm only going to sell 2 of the outfielders and Gabriel. In total, those are the 3 transfers. So basically, the case right now, and what I'm leaning towards is firstly, Isak out for Ollie Watkins. Secondly, Jacob Murphy out for Savinho. Not that I'm super confident that he starts, but at least he does have a double here. And then from Gabriel, I'll go to Saliba. So, couple of things that this allows me to do. Firstly, I will have 12 doublers for Game Week 33. You see that I have triple Arsenal, Raya, Saliba, Saka. I have triple Palace in Munoz, Sa, and Mateta. I have Vardiol, Malmouche, and Savinho. So, triple Man City. And also triple Aston Villa, Konza, Rashford, and Watkins. So, the only other 2 players that would have, or 3 players, I guess, that would have single game week fixtures are Verbruggen, who's my keeper on the bench, and then there's Livramento, Aston Villa away, and Mohamed Salah, Leicester away. So really, if I'm actually to just set this team up nicely, exactly as how, I probably would kind of put it, then maybe what my bench would actually look like is Verbruggen, Konza with a double game week, Salah against Leicester away, and Livramento away. That Aston Villa away. That looks like a very much stronger bench to bench boost with than the Game Week 32 bench, where I'm kind of tugging at strings right now. So at this point, for Game Week 33, this is the combination of moves that I'm looking at. Now, why I am preferring to go for Watkins in for Isak is pretty much this midfield spot where I've kind of taken Jacob Murphy out for Savinho. It's tricky because if I am to go for another Aston Villa player there, for example, like a Morgan Rogers, if I do Murphy to Morgan Rogers, then pretty much I can't go for Watkins anymore because Rogers would be my 3rd Aston Villa asset, in which case, then am I able to go for a Man City forward, but there's no other Man City forwards other than Marmouche, who I already have. So because of that, I'm kind of stuck. I have to save the midfield spot for someone like a Savinho, or Bernardo Silva or Jack Grealish. It's just not very convincing there. Do I actually need to kind of go for a 3rd Man City asset is also what I'm thinking about. So I do have to kind of do this Isak to Watkins move just to kind of free up this midfield spot for the Man City asset, and thereafter it just makes sense to just double up on Arsenal defense as well. Now there is also something in my mind to say that maybe I could go for Ruben Diaz here. So if I go for Ruben Diaz, if I can actually get Ruben Diaz into the team. So if I do go for Ruben Diaz instead of Saliba, then I don't have to kind of have this spot here for Savinho, right? I would have my 3rd Man City asset in Ruben Diaz already, in which case this spot could actually go to someone like a Arsenal attacker, like a Marino, right? A Mikel Marino. And if I do go with something like this, the team actually also does still have 12 double game week players, but pretty much I do get to cover the main teams I want to do so. But do I want to double up on Man City defense is also another question that I have. And is Marino as good of an asset as Savinho, right? So there you go. Pretty much the options are kind of laid out for me here as well. Of course, this is Game Week 33, so there's lots of football to be played, Champions League games as well that could affect the kind of plans that I have. But for now, Game Week 33 for me looks something like this and a bench boost then. So the plan to bench boost in 32 kind of is in the bin right now, unfortunately. But we'll see how it goes. And also the Aston Villa versus PSG game tonight is going to have a huge implication on firstly my starting 11 and also whether I decide to bench boost still in 32 or not. So hopefully this video is helpful for you guys. It's a bit of a ramble. My thoughts are kind of all over the place, but hopefully I managed to piece it together well and you found some use in it. If you do, please do drop a like. Please do subscribe as well. And I will catch you guys on the deadline stream. Probably won't have another video this week, so I'll catch you guys on the deadline stream for Game Week 32 on Saturday, as always, 3 hours before the deadline. Bye-bye.